de-mcclung, art-ra-monologs. Again, and that's where I talk and you don't. That's why it's called a monologue. All right, so continuing, this is part 3 of the topics list. I think we stopped at about 55. So we'll start with 56. So get right into it. 56. Conspiracy theory nutters. Yeah, wackos. Wackos. Now, that's not to say that every conspiracy theory isn't real. That's not to say that every conspiracy that people might talk about or may not even talk about because they're not really sure about it. They're not really aware of it. And yeah, people are talking about conspiracy theories all over the place. And like Gab, for example, there's just zillions and zillions and zillions of conspiracy people going on. And it's like constant. Absolutely constant. So, however, there are conspiracies going on that I actually think are real. Now, I'm not suggesting that a lot of the conspiracy theories that people put forward, that there's nothing to that. There might be a grain of truth in it. Then again, maybe not. Critical thinking is important here. And unfortunately, a lot of people are just not able. And a lot of people just won't because I don't know if they don't want to because there's some reason, some deficiency in their personality or in their self-esteem. I don't know. Maybe they've just been so indoctrinated with crap that they just cannot dig into their brain and make it function like a brain should, which is logical. I'm not saying you can't have a little fun and be a little bit romantic or be a little bit opinionated in various aspects of life, but critical thinking requires logic. If you can't do math, you can't do logic. If you can't do logic, you're not really thinking rationally, logically, intelligently, so forth. Anyway, all right, so anyhow, conspiracy theories exist. There's a conspiracy around a lot of things that we don't know all of the truth about. We don't know the details. We don't know the facts. We don't know the evidence, etc. But we suspect there's something going on. And one of those conspiracies is to turn the English language into babble. Now, you could just say it's a theory if you want, but there seems to be a pretty good amount of evidence to support the theory that somebody is trying to turn the English language into babble in order to create what? Control the people? Who's doing that? It looks to me like a lot of people on all sides of the spectrum here are actually involved in this conspiracy to, bastardize the English language. And I think a lot of them actually are sincere, that they actually want to do good. They want to help humanity. That's quite a possibility. So there's a conspiracy theory, the conspiracy theory that they have, that let's have a conspiracy and turn the English language into something better. Let's try to say things that are good for people and helpful. Let's try to create, equality and all-inclusiveness and various things of that nature. There's a conspiracy to take over the world, and there's a conspiracy to take over America, let's say, by the freaking right-wing zealot crazy people. So anyway, I'll get into that. We'll talk about it. I'm not a conspiracy theory nut. I'm a conspiracy theory thinker from time to time with some kind of evidence to support that. But we'll talk about that later. I've got about 20 more to go here before I can close out the topics list episodes. All right, what's the next one? Incorporation schemes. Well, you know what that is. That's where the government and various people of some position of power and influence try to incorporate everybody and therefore make them people that are engaging in a privilege, because that's what a corporation is. If you're incorporated, you're exercising a privilege. If you get a marriage license to be married, you're not married by the sense of that marriage license or getting a certificate. You're married, you're a corporation. You've agreed to be a corporation. You have agreed to let the government be a party to your contract, the controlling party in your contract of marriage, which is not really marriage, is it? It's a contractual arrangement that the government recognizes and calls marriage, even though it's not. And you believe that it's marriage because, yeah, that's what I've been taught to believe for about, 6 generations. Well, since 1859 anyway. All right, we'll get into that. I've already talked about this in previous episodes, but it's been a while, so let's kind of upgrade that as we go along. All right, let's see. Did I talk about global warming last time? Okay, global warming, climate change. There's some pros and cons there, but I think the climate is changing. That is not, there's no doubt. I mean, you can tell, just real. Man-made, probably a little influence going on there, but whatever. All right, we'll get into that. COVID-19, big subject. Oh, we're down to about 58. Income tax. The IRS crimes, the largest financial crime this country has ever known. Because, number one, income tax doesn't apply to human beings. It applies to corporations. Sorry, that's what the law says. And I'm going to pimp for Dave Champion's book here, Income Tax, Shattering the Myths. Get it. Read it. It has the resources. It has the references in the back of the book, like 25 pages of references. If you have any doubts, you can check it out yourself. I mean, he did the research. You can follow up with that. Get the book, read the book. It might cost you $50, but it's worth it. You'll learn. If you don't want to learn, you don't want to buy the book, you don't want to read the book, I'll tell you what, go in with your friends, family, neighbors, whatever. Buy the book together, spend $10 a piece or something. Pass the book around, read it. And don't tell me this stuff about Dave Champion, and his illegal schemes and all that shit, because that's bullshit. To my knowledge, the man has not been spent one day in prison, and as he often admits with total pride, is he hasn't filed or paid an income tax that he doesn't owe, obviously, since like 1993 or something. All right. And I haven't filed an income tax return for probably 20 years because I don't know it. And I'm not incorporated, so it doesn't apply to me. And that's what the law says. If you're a corporation, you're liable. If you're a corporation, we can subject withholding. And, if you're a foreign corporation, if you're an American corporation, that's a little different situation. But, I know what the law is. I know what the court rulings have been over the past 130 years. So, hey, it's in the book. Plus my own research aside from the book. But the book's pretty thorough. Anyway, get the book, read the book, then you'll know. If not, then I don't give a shit. You're a lost cause, go away. All right, sounds, music, audio art. Well, I make sounds. Sounds with a Z. SOUNDZ. All right, that's music. McClung Original. I haven't actually come up with a name for the business aspect or the umbrella aspect of my music. But I write songs, I sing songs, I record songs, I make music, I record music, I have albums in the works. I know, I'm getting a little old here at this point, getting a little late in life to be starting, like a musical career, but, you got to look forward to something. So maybe at some point, I'll be a rock star, baby. Anyway, we'll talk about what kind of music and what those sounds are, and I'll give you examples. I'll play a little bit for you. All right, in the upcoming episodes, Real Deal Books. I think I mentioned that already. That's the publishing company that I own, operate, and publish my own works of art, my own books, my own various projects in the literary field. All right. Photo magic. A photograph is an illusion, not a delusion, but an illusion. It's magic, because that's what magic is. It's an illusion. Where your eye is tricked into telling your brain something that isn't there. You look at a photograph of a person, you're not looking at the person, are you? And even if you look in a mirror, what you see is not a person. You see a reflection of yourself. This is magic. It really is. Because you just imagine looking into a mirror and seeing a reflection of yourself. It's just magical. I'll get into that a little more later on. Oh, by the way, a photograph of a person is not a person. Because a picture of a tree is not a tree. This is a, absolute fact. There is no debate there. And if you have a brain that functions on any level, even like a 4-year-old should be able to grasp the concept of it's just colors on a piece of paper or pixels on a computer screen. All right, moving on. Insurance fraud, discrimination. Oh, by the way, I get these insurance things every day in the mail. Well, not every day, but a lot. You can get this insurance for this much money, life insurance, health insurance, whatever. Car insurance, and so forth. House insurance. Insurance, medical insurance. And guess what? They all break the law. They all base the premiums on gender, not sex, by the way. Sex is what you do with your sex organs. It's like a verb almost, right? You get it? I'm going to have sex, meaning I'm going to fuck. You understand? That's not gender. Gender is what is when you look down and you see I've got a package or I've got a vagina. That's your gender. And I'm not going to get into all the gender transferring and gender bending and all that stuff that's going on now. I'll get into it at some other point in the future. I have a lot to say about that, by the way. All right, insurance fraud. It is against the law. I know they get an exemption for some reason. Oh, but that doesn't apply to us because we're like insurance companies. We've been doing it wrong for thousands, hundreds of years, whatever. And that's just the way we do it. We got to do it that way because we got to make money. So you get to discriminate against people based on their gender or based on their age and sometimes based on their pre-existing conditions, whatever, or whatever the exception or the difference might be. And, that's wrong. And if you don't get it, there's something wrong with you. And if you're like not an insurance agent or not involved in insurance company business, if you're just a citizen like myself that's not, in the insurance business, then you recognize the fact, or should, that these people are discriminating against you. They're going to give you a higher price because you're older. Well, they have to do the statistics and figure out, how much you're going to pay over your lifetime, blah, blah, blah. They came up with this. Guess who came up with this scheme? The insurance people. Why? To rip you off. Duh. If you go down to the store and I want to buy a loaf of bread, okay, there's the bread over there. All right. How much is your bread? Well, how old are you? None of your business. What gender are you? Well, that's none of your business either. As if it wasn't obvious. But, well, we're going to charge you for that bread according to how old you are. Excuse me? I don't think so. Would people put up with that? How many people in America would actually go to the grocery store and let them quiz you on your age and your gender? What if you're gay? What if you're transgender? There's going to be some question about that, and you're going to get in trouble in the government and in the store, grocery store. We have to have that information to be able to sell you bread at the right price. No, it's just absurd. No. Well, we're gonna sell you insurance at a higher price because you're like only 17 years old. And we're gonna sell you car insurance at a higher price because you're 88 and you're still driving, so we gotta charge you more. And because you're an old person and you're buying bread, we're gonna charge you more for the bread because you're old. Can you not see the absurdity in that concept? All right. Seriously, it needs to be stopped. And the insurance companies need to get with the program. I'll buy your insurance. Let's say life insurance. I want to buy a $50,000 life insurance policy. I will pay the price for that, whatever it may be, as long as it's the same price as everybody else that's buying life insurance. I know you're going to say, but they say it has to do with the odds of you paying more money into the insurance company over a shorter period of time. Since you're old, you won't be paying the premiums very long, so they can't make any money because they'll be putting out money more than what they're taking in. Well, you know, insurance companies make billions, so don't take that. That's just bullshit. Don't fall for that crap. I often ask the insurance company when they make their little offers, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll pay the premium price of the average price for every age bracket, whatever. I'll pay the lowest price, whatever it is that you offer. I'll pay the same price as that 20-year-old. Oh, no. Well, then you're breaking the law and you're being unethical. And it's criminal and disgusting, and that just boggles my mind how people would even let that happen. At any rate, moving on to the next thing real quick. I got a few more to cover before it gets too late. All right, bullying tactics and distractions. Well, when you're talking to someone and you say something like I just said about the insurance, and then someone will come up with a thing like, oh, the insurance companies are allowed to do that because they got to, make money, and they can't make money if they charge everyone the same, and and have to, that's distraction. They're trying to, it's not logical, but they're throwing that into the discussion in order to distract me from my argument, which is absolutely true. And that happens a lot, particularly today on social media. You say something, then someone comes back with an example. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. Another one, dress codes in schools, for example. It's wrong. It's anti-freedom. Anti-freedom. You understand this is a free country and they are oppressing people. They are telling kids they can't wear what they fucking want because, oh, you're not free. But then again, that's the big spiel, isn't it? We're all free to do what we want, except that. Because we're like telling you can't, because we're bullies. And we're not going to tell you, no, you can't do what you want. You can't wear what you want because, oh, it would distract you if you saw a girl, wearing a halter top or something in class. You wouldn't be able to do your homework. You wouldn't be able to pay attention to your teacher. and the indoctrination of bullshit that they give you. Oh, that's what it would do. It wouldn't interfere with you learning. It would interfere with you being brainwashed. Besides the fact that if you're a teenage boy and you're going to school, and you know what? If you're not looking at the girls, there's something wrong with you. Because every human being ever in the entire history of the universe has been distracted by other people, like girls. There hasn't been a male human being alive that at the point of somewhere, when they hit puberty and about the age of 12 and 13, 14, he's not, masturbating at home when he gets home from school and saying, hey, I'm thinking about Darlene, in fifth period English class. And I'm thinking she's got nice titties, even though they're covered up with a freaking sweater because of the school dress code. And he's masturbating. When I was in high school and I was sitting in the class and we sat like in a horseshoe-shaped seating arrangement, and I looked straight across the way there, and in the first seat, and I was on the first seat over here, she's in the first seat over there, and she was sitting there with her, skirt. She had to wear dress and skirts. You couldn't wear pants. You couldn't wear pants. It was a rule. Are you fucking kidding me? I should have been a little bit more brave back in those days and insisted that rule be changed. But, I was a kid and I didn't really know what to do. I thought about it. I had fantasies about it. I mean, not just fantasies about Darlene, but I had fantasies about Carol and Kathy and, whatever. But I also had fantasies about fixing the school system and doing away with these stupid rules. If I thought about that now, if anybody in school today thinks about what I was thinking back then in 1963 or 4, they would have him in handcuffs, dragging him out of the school and calling him, a terrorist or something. Yeah. So anyway, dress codes are wrong. And they use these bullying tactics. But he'll distract him from the school lessons and the schooling, it's natural. Every boy does it. He's going to be distracted. And he's got to learn, first to respect people and not, rape them. He has to learn to control himself, his urges, his desires, his lust, and not do anything inappropriate with other people. Like, grabbed him by the pussy. Who said that? Let me think. Oh, yeah. The guy that didn't learn how to control himself, who was like the pretend president for 4 years. Fucking asshole. So anyway, that's that subject. Bullying tactics. They'll bully you. The insurance companies will bully you. You got insurance, you got to have it, and you're going to have it. And you're going to pay us what we tell you. Bullies. Tyrants. Fascists. Nazis. Pigs. Motherfuckers. All right. English is babble. As babble. As babble. I've already spoken about that a little bit. They're turning the English language into babble. They're bastardizing the English language in order to serve an agenda, to confuse people, to create hysteria, to create chaos, so that people cannot communicate with each other on an English on the basis of English words and English language. Like the Bible story that they're going to build a tower to heaven, and God says, nope, you're going to speak different languages and talk babble. Babylon. It's where the word babble came from, I think. All right, so that's that. We'll get into it in depth. Logic is just math. I already spoke about that. Mind benders, word twisters, hysteria mongers, and babblers. Yeah, it goes into the same thing as I was just talking about. The mind benders, trying to bend your brain so that you don't think like a logical person. You don't think rationally. Trying to bend your mind so that you think whatever they want you to think. All right, moving on. Word twisters, changing the meanings of words, which is not allowed. I'm sorry, the word means what it means. If you want to say something that, and if you want to talk about children, and you want to call children something else besides children, Make up your own damn word. Let's not be using the words that have already been invented and already been defined for, like, forever. And then there's slang words, like kids. He's a kid. Yeah, he's not a baby goat. I'm sorry. That's what the word kid means. Kid gloves. You know what that means? Made out of the skin of kids. Goats. All right, moving on. Hysteria. Yeah, let's create hysteria like it's been going on for the past couple of years here now. Big time. And we got it. And we can see what's going on. Craziness. It's insane. All right, stages of human development. You got your baby, you got your infant, you got your toddler, you got your child. You got your pubescent, then you got your adolescent, and your adolescence. The word is an invention of it hasn't been around that long. When you got puberty and you got past puberty and you had your boobs and you had your bleeding every month and you had hair on your vagina and you had, and you spit come out your dick, you were an adult and they treated you like one with responsibilities and so on. I've got a couple articles I'll refer to when I talk about that. All right, hair, degrees of longitude, made up a word. All right, I have long hair. I've had long hair all my life, pretty much, more or less. There were times when it was relatively short, and sometimes it's short, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter, sometimes a different style. Sometimes I have a little mullet. Yeah, my son makes fun of that, which is silly because I like a mullet. It feels good and it's nice. I like it and it's worth. But I've had long hair since I was probably 11, 12 years old. There were a couple of times as I was growing up and as I was an adult, I had it cut short and I cut it short myself. I've only been to a barbershop like 3 times in my life. Well, since I was 10 anyway. And I just decided I'm not doing it anymore. I'll cut my own hair. I'll style it. I'll cut it. I'm capable. And I learned how to do that over the years. And I've been doing that for 50, 60 years. Over 50 years. I mean, cutting my own hair. I haven't been to a barber shop in 40 years, at least. And I did give them a chance a couple of times. Went to a hair salon, beauty shop, whatever you call it, mostly for women, but men too. And my aunt run the place, one of the places, and I went and said, "Can you do it?" And I showed them a photograph. I want it like this. And guess what? They didn't do it that way, and it really screwed it up, and I had to go home and fix it. And the same thing with a hairstylist. Hairstylist? I guess he was a hairstylist. He was a barber, hairstylist, whatever. And I got a coupon to go have a free haircut or half price haircut or something. And he styled it, and he cut it, and I told him what I wanted, and he kind of did it. And then I looked at it when I got home, and I did, that's pretty cool. And, the problem is you wash it, and then you can't get it back the way he had it. I guess you just have to go back every day and have him comb your hair for you. But anyway, it was crooked. The sideburns were crooked. He cut off too much in the back and so on. It was terrible. All right. So I've been cutting my own hair for, all those years. Saved a lot of money. And I've learned that I can cut my hair any style, any way I want. And will continue to do so as long as I'm able. I suppose there could come a time when I can't get my hands behind my head or lift my arms up high enough to, cut it and shape it and whatever. But I have the tools, razors and scissors and so forth. And I don't recommend everybody do it, but, why not? But I had long hair. And like I said, since I was about 11 or 12, because I started reading philosophy and poetry. And it seemed back to me at that time, all these philosophers and poets had long hair. Then I said, I want to be a poet. And this is about that time I started writing poetry. And, so I said, I'm going to adopt the hairstyle of a poet or an intellectual. I don't want to say philosopher. I'm not a philosopher, but intellectual. Yeah. So that's for me. So I've had long hair ever since, to some degree, in one fashion or another. And it has nothing to do with, my son still says, "Yeah, hippie." I've never been a hippie, ever, not ever. Um, I know what a hippie is. I was alive, and I was a late teens and early 20s during that period of hippiness, and I wasn't a hippie. That's not to say I didn't smoke pot and shit, but you don't have to be a hippie to smoke pot. So anyway, I don't smoke pot anymore for various reasons, so I won't get into, but I just don't. All right, not that I wouldn't, but I just don't. All right, the hair thing. So that's why my hair's long, and I've always had it long to some degree, and I like it. I like it, hair, and I like to play with my hair because it's like, it's like a sculpture. It's like a work of art, and to play and style with your hair and kind of come up with something creative about it, right? And the thing is, hair grows back. If you cut it a little too short and make it look really ugly, which I've done, wear a hat for a couple of months, it grows back. So far, I'm blessed with pretty good hair. At any rate, what's the next thing here? Here's one. This'll get your goat. I'm sure you'll like. Oh God, I probably shouldn't even say this out loud. How about this? Let's kill Jesus again. Now, I'm not Jewish, and I'm not a Roman Italian, so it's not has nothing to do with those guys. I'm just saying, we just should probably kill him again. Permanently this time, like maybe lop off his head. So if he does resurrect himself, he has to walk around holding his head under his arm, or in a basket. Because this Christian Jesus stuff is just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. And anybody that believes that crap is fucking retarded. Seriously. Absolutely retarded. Or insane. Delusional. Out of their freaking mind. All right. Next thing. Let's see. Aha. Gender versus sex. I already mentioned that. Porn is good. Yes. Well, bear in mind, I write porn. It's kind of like a job. It's like my occupation. It's what I do. I like writing porn, and I'm good at it. It's fun. And it's fantasy. It's not like I'm writing a biography of myself. That would be an autobiography, wouldn't it? It's not like I'm doing that, because, the things I write about in these porn stories, I guarantee you I've never done those things. I don't condone it if other people do it. I'm not saying it's a good thing to do, but everybody has fantasies. And I've spoken to a lot of women over the years, and I always ask them, almost every female I've ever dated or had whatever, married to or whatever, had a relationship with, I ask them, what's your fantasy? They tell me, and I say, we can do that. And there you go. Play it out. And of course, I'll tell them my fantasy and play that out too. And, hey, fair's fair. Pretend. And by the way, if you're watching a movie, and this is a movie about, let's say, people it's a rape. It's about a story about somebody who got raped and the ordeal and the trauma and the recovery and whatever. Or maybe there was a story where a girl was raped and murdered, and then you got a detective story. You got to find out who murdered her and bring them to justice and all that. If you write that play, if you write that script for that movie, they make the movie, and it's pretend. They didn't actually rape anybody in the movie. It was pretend, right? They're acting. They didn't really do it. I'm not suggesting that it didn't happen. But at any rate, you know what I'm saying? Now we know there are people who are dumb enough, stupid enough, and disgusting enough, and criminal and evil enough that they would actually rape somebody, which is wrong, and they would actually take videos of themselves raping somebody. Whoa, that's just just it boggles my mind how anybody could do such a thing. But that doesn't mean that I can't write a story about that person in a fictional form about something like that happening, because some people get off on that. Not necessarily doing it, but reading about it. All right? Or watching a movie where it's about people who rape people and stuff. And there are people that like to watch movies about murder and about, murder mysteries and police dramas and so on. Someone has to write the script. So I'm not suggesting that I'm writing about me raping somebody. I'm just writing a story about somebody raped somebody, and the consequences of that was whatever it was. They got caught, they got put to prison, whatever. There are unjust situations where somebody got accused of raping somebody that didn't actually rape anybody. And that's going on today with a lot of these people with all their sex trafficking and child molesters and all that crap, which is mostly about 95% bullshit. Because, number one, you can't rape somebody who says, oh, sure, let's do it. I'm sorry, it's not rape if the girl says, yeah, do it. And the sex trafficking, that's total hysteria. It's totally blown out of proportion. And like the one, 800,000 kids, children go missing every year. That's not even logical. That's not even within the range of logical. That'd be like, in 10 years, that's 8 million children. We're talking about like under 12. I know they're not talking about that. They're talking about under 18 because they don't know what the word child means. All right. I'll get into that some more later. All right. Moving on. Porn's good. It's necessary. It serves a purpose. And by the way, would you rather someone read a fictional porn story or watch a porn video on the internet of people that actually get paid to actually do that in order to entertain and to stimulate people sexually and help them get off because they're like alone? I know a guy who's never had sex in his life. He's like about 30, 40 years old. I forget how old he is. He's never had sex with a girl in his life, ever. And the only way he has to get off is porn. It helps him get off. It serves the purpose for him. It keeps him from doing silly things like raping people. Not that he would rape anyone. He's not the kind of person to rape someone, but it serves the purpose. It helps him get off. It helps him get satisfied. It helps him get relieved of his desires and lust. Serves the purpose. All right? It's a good thing. And people say, oh, porn is bad, porn is bad. And, that's just bullshit. They don't have a clue. And by the way, I've been in some porn videos, produced them myself. I was the porn star. Yeah, really. And I've done that. I'm not ashamed of it. They're not like world famous porn videos like, some of the older ones like The Story of O and whatever, all them, I forget the name of the girl, Lawless or somebody. Anyway, I made them as just a regular guy having sex with a girl. Well, a woman, not a kid, not child porn, for Christ's sake. It's disgusting. All right, even though I get accused of it all the time, which of course that's because they don't understand English, because they accept the bastardized form of the words, of English words, instead of listening to what I'm telling them, which is in real English. All right, moving on. I got about 5 more minutes. I'm not going to finish the list, am I? Unless I go real fast. All right, what's the next one? Photographs are magic. Already mentioned that. Dress codes are illegal in a free society. Yeah, mentioned that. Nudism versus freedom to be nude. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to go to a nudist resort, you're going to pay money to go to some place with a lot of other people and just be naked and pay money to live there for a week or whatever and run around naked and play volleyball in the nude and swim in the pool nude and that sort of thing. You know, and then you go home and you got to wear clothes again. You're not a nudist. That's a hobby. That's not being a nudist. You're pretending to be a nudist. A nudist is a person who doesn't wear clothes at all, ever. You understand? It's like, who are real nudists? You know, the natives, the Aborigines people, I don't know what tribe it would be, pygmies or whatever, that live in like Africa and the jungles of South America, you know, they run around. They're naked. They don't wear clothes. They've never worn clothes. They don't have any interest in wearing clothes. Perfectly happy and perfectly cool, and there's no problem. To them, it's perfectly normal, and they think wearing clothes is stupid. Those people are nudists. Now, they don't call themselves nudists, and nobody ever says they're nudists, but I just did. I just said those people are nudists because they are living the life of nudity. If you're going to go to a nudist resort for the weekend, I'm going to go for the weekend and get naked and run around in front of other naked people. That's not being a nudist. That's being a fake. That's being a fraud. That's deluding yourself. You're lying to yourself. But I run around the house naked. Yeah. In your house, maybe. That's not being a nudist. All right. I will delve into that a little deeper as well. Dress codes are illegal in a free society. We already know about that. I'll talk about that again. Epstein and Company, the woman's trial that just ended up, she was found guilty of something. That's a farce. There were no children involved. Everybody that was in there was willing. All of the adolescent teenager persons, there were no children. There was no like 6-year-olds or 8-year-olds involved. And they said so. You know, I did it. They gave me money. And you kept going back. Yeah. Again and again and again. Right? Yeah. So you didn't get raped. But I was underage. Don't ever use the word underage to me. I'll slap you. That's just stupid. Age of consent is when you're old enough to do it. If you consent to do it at that point, that's on you. If you say no, that's on you too. But I'm sorry, but that trial was a joke. All right. A victim. There weren't any victims. They all volunteered. I don't know of anybody that came forward and said, oh, I didn't want to do it, and he forced me, and he fucked me in the ass and shit, and I said no, and then I ran away and called the cops. Wait a minute. Did anyone call the cops? Did anybody actually say, hey, policeman, ring, ring, hello, police department. I've just been raped by, John Kennedy Jr. or Prince Philip or whatever his name is. Andrew? Yeah. No, didn't happen, did it? Didn't fucking happen. Well, gee, isn't that odd? But they took the money. I know some people, they said they got like $500 every time they went to the place and, had some sex. Really? What? That's a pretty expensive hooker if you ask me. Oh, yeah, hooker. Prostitution. I did it for money. I didn't want to, but I had to because, they said, why don't you? And I said, I don't want to. And they said, well, here's $500. I said, okay, then I'll do it. That's not rape. I'm sorry. Oh, teenagers can't consent because they don't have a brain and they don't have any rights and shit because they're like dumb. No, that's not true either. That's just absurd. And you're trying to make... I'll talk about it some more later. All right, moving along. I got 1 minute. I'm not going to make it. The national anthem at sports. National anthem at sporting events. That's just ridiculous. The national anthem should be played at government events. TV is propaganda. You know what that is? Oh, Marquis de Sade is hero. I'll talk about that. All right, then I'll do some poetry readings and play some music and sing some songs and give you some examples of that. And that's about it. I wrapped it up. Good to go. Bye-bye.